Do we live in a virtual world controlled by computers? Probably not. But the cult movie The Matrix explored this very idea, where Keanu Reeves was offered two pills, a red pill or a blue pill, to open his mind that he lived in a simulation controlled by AI-powered robots. The world of simulations isn't quite as dystopian as The Matrix, but it's no less interesting and affecting our lives in ways we couldn't possibly imagine. In today's digital world, simulations affect every industry, from ecology to engineering. But what is a simulation? A simulation is a computer recreating a real-life process, so a virtual playground. My earliest encounters with simulations were in computer games, things like The Sims or Grand Theft Auto, and these were immersive worlds for you to explore for entertainment. And these are a good example of how simulations work. Take Football Manager, for example. You manage a virtual football team. It has rules just like the real world. So there's 11 players, most goals wins. And also there's vast databases of information on the play and attributes of players. And these are the building blocks for simulations. But what we can also do with simulation is change the rules. So a football game can be played in 5 minutes rather than 90. Or we can explore alternative scenarios. So a scenario of, what if I was the star striker of Liverpool Football Club? But also as a computer game, I might lose and I could replay the game again until I win. It's great. And this is an important concept introduced in simulations, that although the underlying data and the computer models are the same, there's a different result. So if I was to play the same virtual football match 10 times, I might get 10 different results. So how do we use this seemingly randomness in simulations in the real world? Well, as a data scientist, we take this randomness and provide it structure and order. We'll run simulations thousands of times and count the amount of times an event occurs to give us the probability or likelihood of that event. And my research, researchers can use the simulations in clinical trials to optimize their processes, virtually generating thousands of patients. However, the real randomized clinical trials in the real world are still the gold standard, but simulations still play an important role. They allow researchers to tailor the number of patients in a trial, minimizing risk interventions. They also speed up the trials, saving years of development time, getting the drugs to people that need them most. And thank you all today, and I'd just like to say, we've all took a red pill to get the simulation and to open our world to the wonderful world of simulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What's that, Judy? What is it?
Jelly beans?
Oh, no, you can. Oh, for being in your back pocket. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. I love about Grand Theft Auto there, so my ears were perking right up. We've got a question from our panel, please, Vic.
Is this on? No. Is it on now? Yes. Yeah. Can you give us some examples of broader applications outside of clinical trials and the kind of methodologies that you use?
Oh, so the methodology we use is known as Monte Carlo simulation. And what it is, it's repeating the process over and over again, like I said, thousands of times. Where this sort of came from, Monte Carlo, is you're familiar with casinos, so you can rerun, for example, the roulette machine lots and lots of times and come up with betting strategies to try and beat the house. So that's another example of where it's used. Simulations are also used here at the Science Festival. There's a talk on the more sort of that immersive side, living in an actual virtual world, and they're using an immersive world to allow medical doctors to train, operate on patients without doing it, so you're putting that patient at risk. So there's many different applications to simulation, which is broader than my own personal research.
Thank you so much, Gareth. Jonathan, a question?
Thanks, Gareth. Where do you see this area developing in the next 10 years? It's already moved very quickly in the last number of years, but the next 10, 20 years, where do you see it being?
Oh yes, that's a very good question. I suppose in some ways it's moving at different paces in different industries. The medical industry is highly regulated for good reason, obviously, but that means that it slows sort of innovation down. there's lots more data being collected. I'm sure we all have smartwatches on. And that's collecting lots and lots of medical data. And if we look at like simulations, it's the same as any model. There's a computer model. There's a principle called garbage in, garbage out. But now we're collecting reams upon reams of data that we don't know what to do with it, and it's sitting there. So being able to take that information that's being collected about us right now as we're sitting here, my heart rate's probably around 70. Not too high. But using that information to build in these computer models, and simulations allow us to predict the future, so getting more accurate information in and more accurate information out.
Thank you so much, Gareth. Big round of applause for Gareth.